So thanks for meeting with me today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you use technology in your everyday life?
Well, I use technology virtually with everything I do, from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. You look at things such as these type of things, phones and whatnot. You're always in communication with people. Where back in the day, you had phones that were attached to the wall, and the as far as you could extend the cord on the handheld device is about as far as you could be mobile with a phone. For one example, television, entertainment. Um, you had very limited resources in those areas. So, back when I was growing up, you went outside and did stuff outside and got creative with different games and things that you played. And now everything is brought back inside, where you have virtually everything you need just from a TV or a phone or a computer. Um, it's very simplified. I mean, you even have cars today that can drive themselves. So it's been a complete turnaround and change from when I was growing up, where you had to actually talk to people. You actually had to, if you wanted to talk to someone, you could pick up a telephone, but the telephone, like I said, was connected to the wall in the house, and it wasn't mobile as we have today. So it has really freed us up to become more mobile and not be restricted to what you had available in your house.
Interesting. What was it like going to college with early 1980s technology?
Basically, again, I go back to the phone. I can remember when I first went to school. I went to school about 1,000 miles from my home, where as you have today, you can just pick up your phone and call someone, or text someone, or FaceTime, or any of those type of methods that you have today. Well, back then there was a phone bank in the dorms, and basically you had to make a long distance phone call if you wanted to call home or get in touch with someone. There was no FaceTime, there was no computers, there was no email. So basically back then I'd make pretty much one call home a week, whereas you can get in touch with anyone anytime these days. So from the communication back home standpoint, it's a lot easier to communicate with the people back home, as well as getting a hold of people like you up at school and that type of thing. Also, back then when we did papers, we had to do papers on a hand manual typewriter. And we used tons of whiteout, because as you start typing those papers, you invariably make spelling errors and whatnot, and you're always going back and cleaning up your mistakes with the whiteout and then retyping. I can remember spending entire weekends just typing up papers. If you had to do a 40 or 50 or 60 page paper, it literally would take all weekend, and that's all you did was sit there and type. And then you had to be careful when you typed, because you got sick of going back and trying to fix your mistakes.
Interesting. Sounds hard.
It was. It wasn't any fun.
So how do you feel about technology? Do you like it? Do you hate it?
It's got its good sides and its bad sides. I mean, it's good from the perspective of it makes life a hell of a lot easier to live. I mean, for example, how many phones do we have in this house? Well, you've got a cell phone. I got a cell phone. Your mom has a cell phone. Your sister has a cell phone. Whereas when I was growing up, there was one phone connected to the wall in the kitchen. How many computers do we have? Well, we've got probably a half a dozen computers in this house of varying types. iPads and Chromebooks and normal laptops and whatnot. So, where you have information available to you at any time, anywhere, that you are through your phones, through your computers, through the television. You know, we've got three televisions. All of them have streaming service on it, so we can see virtually any type of TV program that we want to see just by firing it up. From technology advances in the kitchen, you can kind of see that stove back there. That stove, if you have the app for that stove, the app can diagnose any issues you're having with the stove. You can turn the stove on or off via your app. So I mean, just you have all of those different. Basically, your whole house you could configure to be fully functional on a phone app. So it's good from that standpoint. It's bad from the standpoint of I think people have become less communicative to one another. I think personal skills have gone down the crapper because everyone talks via a device, through FaceTime, or not through FaceTime, but through email and texting and Facebook and Snapchat and all those different things. You're not really talking to a person, you're talking to your device. It's bad from the perspective of people. People get very bold when they're dealing with other people because they don't have to face that person face to face, and maybe be negative towards that person face to face. They can hide behind their device. So I think it's just bad from the personal one-on-one communication. People hardly ever pick up the phone and call someone. It's usually through texting, and I'm just as much at fault as that. I'll text before I pick up the phone and call anyone. But I think it has hurt society as a whole because it's made them more less. The people skills have gone way down, and it's made them. I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say here, but it's giving them less interpersonal skills as opposed to when I was growing up and you didn't have all this stuff available to you. You had to go talk to someone. If you wanted to go see your friend, you had to go walk to their house or go to their house and talk to them, that type of thing. So I think it's been good and bad.
Well, thank you for your time.
No problem.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. Happy holidays.